quadratic equations. That means something with x squared. And an equation because equals naught. We have done an exercise with sort of this part. And we did that by trial and error. Find two numbers that multiply -7, and the positives are winning by, the negatives are winning by 3. Well, in this case there is no such thing. This can only be 7 and 1. -7, +1, that will never be -3. And yet this is possible, but not trial and error, because this number in front will get you into trouble. So this is not trial and error. Trial and error is only the one we did before. So soon as you see 2, 3, 4 in front, then we have to do the all-purpose formula. And instead of 2x squared -3x -7, the general form is ax squared. So in this case the a is 2. Positive bx. In this case the b is -3. And instead of -7, instead of positive c, c is -7. A, B, C. So this is the general form, and this is a specific, because we know what these letters are worth now. So now I'm going to show you that all-purpose formula. So we have the same, that quadratic equation. We know, we look at the 2, we know that we can't do trial and error. And this is A, B is -3, and C is -7. And we're going to fill that in the all-purpose formula. Now, because we have x squared, we want to know what x is, then of course there is a square root sign. The 2 is of course not mentioned, but this means square root. But the 2 is never mentioned. But there's nothing wrong with it if I do. But it is always left out. But for the sake, for the name, the square root. So that's quite something we have to remember. Of course that doesn't go in one step. I don't mean if it takes you a week to remember. The teacher will say learn this for tomorrow. No, that doesn't. The brain cannot absorb pure data. This is pure data. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to make it make sense. And we're going to do that in steps. And so here is the general formula: ax squared positive bx positive c. This is stage 1 to practice. So all you have to practice for the time being. I should have put x equals. So all you start is with the line. Now that's not difficult. And because we're going from x squared to x, there is obviously a square root. So far we have a line and a square root. Then in the formula we saw three negatives, 1, 2, 3. So that is what we're going to put in when we're going to practice. We know this is the general formula. We need the line. The opposite of square is square root, so that obviously is there. And we put in these three negatives. And why have I got this arrow? Because 2a, that comes underneath. That is the denominator. This gives the name. I'll do it again. General formula. We're going to break it up in 2 or 3 steps. X equals. Start with the fraction line. The opposite of square is square root, so obviously we have a square root sign. And then when we looked at the formula, there were 3 negative numbers. And the denominator, we just have to look to a. So I give you sort of a recipe. I give you a way to remember. Line, square root, 3 negatives. That cannot be difficult. And your eye goes here, 2a. Well, that's a very good start. We're going to do the rest. So we have the x, we have the line, we have the 2a, and we have the 3 negatives. Now we know that if we go from x squared to x, there are always 2 possibilities. So in negative, 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 the middle one also can be positive in front of the root sign. X, a line, 2a, negative, 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 because there are 2 solutions, it's positive and negative. So that's the start. You can practice that on a piece of paper. And not until you can x, the line, square root sign, negative, 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 2a. And because you always have two answers, put here the positive. So that's almost the next step. Now we're going to do step 3. So where do we start? Do we start with the first? No, the others are complaining. If you start with the last, these 2 are complaining. So it's quite logical that we start with the middle. See, while I'm talking and making a joke, this is how you remember. Not the first because the other ones are angry. Not the last because these are angry. So, even Stephen, we start with the middle. Now b is -3. So, this is A, that is B, that is C. So we start with the middle. We have already this, so we start with the middle. If you go to there, we now inside the square root, so it's quite logical that that b is now b squared. So far we have a line negative, negative, negative square root sign, and we know that we have even index. It's also positive. The denominator is, your I goes twice that one. That's 2a. Because a is 2a. Then we have this quaddle. If you start here, the other ones wins. If you start here, so we start with the middle. And the negative is already there, so the middle, this is b. If you go from here, outside to inside, that's quite logical that it is now b squared. We have already the negative. Your I goes here, so b squared, your I goes down, 4a. This is amazing. You have to make a connection. The line, square root sign, 3 negatives. We start with the middle, b. This is already there. Positive. B outside, b square inside. The negative is already there. So now your I goes, 2a, that's here. So now your I goes 4a. 4a, that's 4a. Well, we haven't done the c yet, so we might as well put c in it as well. The line, the square root sign, the 3 negatives, this positive, your I goes here, that's this one. We start with the middle, b. Inside b, outside b, inside b squared. This is already there. Your I goes 4a. 4a. And we haven't done the c yet, so we might as well put c. So we now, instead of this, we're going to fill in the numbers. Because b is -3. So negative b is 3. And b is -3, so b squared is 9. -4 a, so that's -8a times -7, that is positive 56. And 2a, a is 2. So 2a becomes 4. So the answer is, see how you could never have done a trial and error. So x is 3 positive, the square root of 65. That is calculator stuff. 3 positive the square root and 3 negative, and we divide it by 4. This is the one we did before with trial and error, because A is 1. So x, we start with this line and we do the square root sign and we do the 1, 2, 3 negative, and we're going to fill in. Negative b, that means negative 2, positive and negative. If b is 2, then b squared is 4. Look at the sign. Negative 4ac, that's negative, negative, that's positive 60. So we have negative 2 positive 8. The positives are winning by 3. Or we have negative 2 negative 8. That's negative 10 on 2. That's negative 5. So with the formula, we have the answer straight away. With the trial and error, we have x negative 3 times x positive 4. And then we have to change the signs. But in the formula, we have straight away the answers. There's 2 x's. This is the same type of sum. This is the quadratic equation. This is the trial and error. So x is positive 3 and x is negative 1. This is the graphic solution, because if I split this up, I have x squared equals 2x plus 3. And we know, we did that before, this is a straight line. Y is 2x positive 3. That is this line. And the next lessons, if y is x squared, so if x squared is naught, then it is a quadratic equation. If x squared is y, then we talk about a parabola, and we can graph that. That is this. And so where the line meets the parabola, negative 1 and 3. Negative 1 and 3. This is amazing. Graphic solution. In the next lesson we are going to do this y is x squared, and we're talking about parabola. 876. So this problem appears in the multi-level dictionary for year 6 to year 12. It has never been produced before, only by a genius. Am I boasting? No. One book for 6 years. This is problem number 876. You can check it out.